Good evening, guys. Welcome to the program on effective strategic sourcing. Just allow me a few seconds to share the screen. Vikash Kumar, welcome. Good evening. Just allow few seconds. I am setting the screen. Thank you. Welcome to the program. Today we are going to see the topic effective strategic sourcing. In fact, in last few session, we were seeing various aspects of purchasing, and we have also seen what is the difference among the terms purchasing, procurement, and sourcing. So you can see that sourcing takes a higher level of function in any organization, and this is where you have to target if you want to grow in your careers. So let us understand what exactly is the effective strategic sourcing. Before we go into the program, a brief introduction about me. This is my LinkedIn profile. Hope most of you are connected with me. If not, you are welcome to connect with me. And I am an engineer with MBA and PG diploma in data science. I have nearly 2.5 decades working in end-to-end supply chain management in this type of organization. I started my career in Bosch, where I was working for 15 years, and I have handled each and every subdomain inside the purchase supply chain, including the purchase. I started my career in the purchasing, and I have a practical knowledge of each of this subdomain. In the last assignment for the last 10 years, I have been heading the supply chain of this multinational organization. Currently, I am the CEO of Thoughtware Training Private Limited, engaged in both consulting and training. Coming to my certification, I keep showing because this is an important aspect in your career. If you are looking for a job in good organization with good salary, if you are a core supply chain professional, you need certification from ASCM or UPIX, like this type of certification. Also, one more US based institute called Demand Driven Institute, they also provide similar certifications. But if you want to focus your career in purchasing or sourcing, you can obtain certification from an organization called ISM, Institute of Supply Management, based in US. They provide a certification called cpsm, Certified Supply Chain Management. Let me share the screen. I think screen is still not shared. Let me share the screen. So, if any one of you interested in pursuing career in purchasing, then you need to have this type of globally recognized certification. Of course, we will see some of these aspects in this session regarding globally recognized certification. I am also qualified in business analytics. Coming to our organization, we are a 5 years old organization established in Bangalore. I am heading this organization. We provide both consulting and training in the field of supply chain, logistic, purchasing, also analytics in this domain. And we operate with the trade name Expert SEM. We provide short-term job-oriented programs which are called executive certificate or diploma program in supply chain management, logistic, and one of our popular program is supply chain analytics. Also, certified sourcing analyst we have recently launched, and other type of format could be any of the global certification programs. Coming to the topic, effective strategic sourcing, any of the participants, if you have any specific query, you are also welcome to comment. I am watching the LinkedIn comments so I can answer your questions. So, coming to strategic sourcing, it is not a transactional activity. It is a long-term vision of a company trying to align the strategic planning of the any organization. So, you can see the in terms of activity performed is also of a long-term nature. For example, first activity done is consolidation and leveraging of purchasing power. So, if you are procuring from various vendors different material, the sourcing should take care of this consolidation of activities. Maybe if you are working in a multinational companies, the parent organization will take care of such consolidation because that helps in better negotiation. Second comes emphasis on value. So here we are not talking only about the price. So it's a best price with the best quality, more meaningful supplier relationship. So supplier relationship development is also part of sourcing. Attention is directed towards the process improvement, enhanced teamwork and professionalism. I hope if you are in the core sourcing sector, these are the main activities for a sourcing professional, and these are more oriented towards long term planning. As a sourcing, traditionally sourcing is called purchasing. In fact, it is there for more than a century, and the focus was mainly on the cost, reducing the cost. So it was known as the tactical sourcing or functional purchasing. Limited and known supply base, multiple goods, search for the best price. So this was the traditional way of working in the purchasing. But when it moved to strategic sourcing, you can see the supplier relationship is being enhanced and non-traditional supply base. And also we started using something called TCO, total cost of ownership. Then comes the with the help of internet, we are moving towards e-sourcing, e-procurement, or e-commerce. And finally, we are in a integrated sourcing. That's where the supply chain takes the form. Possibly, if you are at a senior level, you are heading the supply chain, but primarily you need all the knowledge on the sourcing domain. So, if you see the strategic sourcing, there are five core principles, starting from assess total value. Whatever purchase you do should be of total value. Maybe your neighbor price and item, same item. If you are importing from some other party, then the prices to your factory gate will be different. So you have to account for all the cost. Of course, let us see some of those visible and invisible cost. Second is develop individual sourcing strategy. So you cannot apply the same strategy for all the material, all the suppliers. Then evaluate internal requirement. Possibly you also should support to the user departments and define or fine tune the specification. Focus on supplier economics. Here we need to identify understand before identifying buying tactics in terms of volume leveraging, price unbundling, or price adjustment mechanism. Okay, finally, it's a continuous improvement. For any process, it has to be continuously improved. So these are the basic principles for strategic sourcing. So we will see next, strategic sourcing process. Anyone, any participants, any questions, you can parallelly type in the LinkedIn. If you are watching, you are welcome to ask any question related to the topic we are discussing today. So it's a series of topic we are discussing both in the core supply chain as well as sourcing domain. You are always welcome to ask for doubts or clarification in the comments. As far as strategic sourcing process is concerned, one is developing the plan. Second is understand the spend, how much money you are going to spend. Evaluate supply sources. Finalize the sourcing strategy. Implement the sourcing strategy. Onboarding and transitioning, collaborative process improvement. Of course, we are going to see each one of these activities in the coming slides. Jitendra, good evening. If you have any question, you are welcome to type in the comments. As for the first step is concerned, for any organization to have a better sourcing process, you need the team from multi cross-functional teams to support, because you need a blend of both the commercial and the technical skill if you need a better valued product. Okay, so first is a formulation of a strategic plan with the right kind of people, and second is understand the spend. Possibly here we are talking about supplier wise, category wise, internal user wise, and profile the current sourcing approaches and areas for improvement. Possibly some type of analytics can be used here. If you are working for a large company, you know the data is created in huge numbers. So some analytical skill is also required for a sourcing professional. And the sourcing professional also address make versus buy, why we need to outsource some items. I hope many of our purchasing professionals also participate in decision regarding the make or buy. Manoj, welcome. Your question only, we are discussing the topic. So we are understanding what are the strategic sourcing. Of course, you are late. Okay. Coming to the step 3 onwards, here we are seeing some type of a supplier portfolio screening. This is where you are making some audit on the supplier and getting some basic information. You know, there is something called RFI, where you are going to send to multiple vendors. RFI stage, possibly you can send it to 20 or 30 vendors. There is nothing wrong. Here you are only trying to get basic information like their background, what is the turnover, previous orders, who are the promoters. So here we are not talking about the quotation at the first level. When it comes to second level, you are going to ask for a request for proposal or quote. This is where you are going to ask from a shortlisted vendors, possibly not more than 4 or 5 vendors here. And it should be combined with site visits, taking the different users feedback. And you have to make a complete analysis. Once again, here the selection of a vendor is not only based on the price. Price is one of the factor, but you have to see various aspect including service. So a comparison chart should be made. If you are in the sourcing, you should also take approval from either the user function, or it should be a joint decision whenever you are going for a long term plan. It's not one guy who is going to finalize the vendor. Okay. The next step in the supplier selection criteria, some of the ideas given there, what all the things you can check and evaluate. One is, of course, based on the quality in terms of functional requirement, technical specification, design, product life, ease of repair, maintenance, and dependability. Though it looks vague, we have to define each one in depending upon the item required, because it's not only the functional requirement nor technical specification, especially if you are using for a long term requirement. Then you need to define all these quality parameters. Then coming to reliability, in fact, on time delivery is one of the prime criteria now. In fact, our customers are valuing us based on time quality, and nowadays the on time delivery moves ahead of the cost in the current environment, because that is the customer expectation. You can also check on performance history, warranty, replacement policies. Then risk, if you are outsourcing, it comes always with a risk along with the rewards. So you have to find out what are those risks and how you can mitigate the risk is also important. Then coming to the capability, we need to understand what are the skill available with the vendor in terms of resolving problems and production capabilities, in terms of management, labor relation. All these are important in capability. And coming to the financial, you should also evaluate whether supplier is financially healthy, because for the long term relationship, that is also one of the key factors. Apart from the price of the product, of course, finally we can also decide based on the price, but that's one of the factor. Other qualities could be cultural compatibility and supplier attitude, especially if you are trying to import some items. You need to take care of the culture, time zone, and other aspect related to a foreign country. Then you need to understand the supplier location and also build the cost as per this, whether supplier is going to deliver to the factory or you are going to collect. Then what type of packaging, repair and return capability, training aids, all these are desirable. In fact, whenever you are making the comparison of vendors, you have to consider all these factors and give the rating weightage accordingly. Okay. Finally, nowadays what is more growing in concern is sustainability and social issues. When we talk about sustainability, we are talking with respect to environmental protection, how the supplier is making his process. So nowadays we also try to procure item from green sources, so that's also called green procurement, green logistic. Okay. So possibly you can also examine type of packaging and how they dispose the waste, all it's important. Then coming to the social welfare of the society they are serving and also the employees, all this comes under the supplier selection criteria. So this is how you can feel that sourcing is something which is done far ahead of actual purchase. And normally sourcing is involved for the items which are critical importance to the organization and for the supplier whom with whom you want to have a long term relationship. Okay. Coming next could be after you finalize the vendor, onboarding and transition. Here we need a proper contract to be in place, so that our operation is and management becomes very easy. Possibly some introduction and training can be provided at this stage to the vendors. Finally, the any process has to be continuously improved. Okay. It's not a one time process. This is where the supplier relationship development comes into process. You need to handhold the supplier and support him in terms of technical, financial, or any such requirement. Okay. We were talking about one more important aspect on landed cost or total cost of ownership. So possibly if you are importing an item, there are so many incidental costs involved, apart from transportation, insurance, and customs duties are there. So in any purchase, especially for continuous long term use, you need to understand the total cost of purchase. Okay, some costs are directly visible. For example, purchase or acquisition cost is visible, whereas the life cycle cost, which is one important factor which is normally required during operation of the product. Generally, for a capital goods, this becomes important. Assume you are buying a generator which is useful for 10 or 20 years, and you need to know in terms of fuel consumption or maintenance cost over its life period. And how about frequent quality issues? How many downtime days are there, and how fast it can be recovered is important. Coming to the inventory cost, when the item is coming through sea, then it may take a transit time, depending upon the location. It could be 2 weeks or 6 weeks, 8 weeks. During that time, all the inventory carrying cost is incurred, so that has to be built in your purchase price when you're considering total cost of ownership. That is also important. Then coming to the management cost, how easy to administer the supplier is also important. Do you need a frequent follow-up, expediting, or visiting the supplier? So there is a administration cost involved. Possibly the sourcing cost itself is there. Technology cost, transaction cost, cost of disposition is also important. Okay, at the end of life period, nowadays some of the products in some countries you need to take back or return to the original manufacturer. So do you have any such agreement, especially in case of electrical and electronical product, whether you are going to give back to the customer vendor so that he can process the in the form of recycling or repairing or reimaging or remanufacturing, like that. So for a sourcing professional to become successful, you need to have a overall cost identification for any of the long term critical purchase. Of course, you cannot do for all the component, all the supplier, and not required if some of these purchases are of transactional nature. Hope you have got some brief idea on this strategic sourcing. If you have any doubts, you can always welcome to type in the comments. In fact, we do this program on various length, possibly up to 5 months length, and matching to global certification level. We will see some of the aspect, especially if you are in the job market. You need to have two important skill. One is and only one is upskilling. There is no other way now. As far as sourcing professional is concerned, there are two things required in the current job market, either to survive even in your current organization, or if you are looking for a better job in other function. You need two skills basically in the current environment, because maybe each job is applied by thousands of people, especially in the purchasing domain. Even general category people can also apply, in the sense you don't need only a technical knowledge here. Okay, any general qualification is also sufficient. But the when you compare supply and demand, there are more number of people, so employers are looking for smart professional here. Need one analytical skill, second could be a global certification. If you have both of this, then getting a better job improves. And why I should do this? I am comfortable with this current job. I will retire in the current organization. For yes, fine. For you, this is not the program. But if you are looking for a change and growth in the career, you need these things, especially in terms of analytical skill. I am just displaying some of the job posting in the recent time. You can see title is itself changing now. Okay, many organizations, they don't call the professional as executive now. It is called analyst. You can see procurement operation analyst from HP, and this is from Boeing. They are calling for a procurement analyst. And there is one more, it's a bank, JP Morgan bank. They are looking for expertise in invoice analytics. So the profile itself is changing. Not only the way in which we were operating earlier is changing, so designation is changing. Okay, then you need to have some global certification. The local certification degree doesn't help anyway, because most of the people have some of the local certification. In this aspect, I have shown one of my certification, which is CPM, certified purchasing manager. But now that is replaced by a certification called CPSM, certified professional in supply management. This is provided by an organization called ISM. So if you are serious, you can just Google up this organization. We will also see what employers, which kind of certification they are looking in the coming slide. And there is also one more organization called SIPS. This is a UK based organization, and the level quality is really good in this organization, but it is expensive. You can see they offer both certification and diploma type of a program. And I have seen taken some more job description to understand what type of certification these organization are looking for. You can see CPAM, cpsm. This is what I have shown in the previous slide. There is one more organization, Suyas. They are looking for CPM or CPSM. You will see that these are all globally recognized certification, and whether you are in India or any part of the world, these are certification are valid. One more from Ernst and Young, they are also looking for CPSM. This is only to give an idea that what is important for the employees, not for you, for the employees when they want to select, when they want to filter the thousands of candidate, what skill they are employing. So now we have seen the two important skill. One is the analytical skill, and second one is a global certification is required. As far as our program is concerned, we have launched a program called Certified Sourcing Analyst. Okay, it combines domain knowledge with the analytical skill. In fact, the domain knowledge, we are using global syllabus so that you are able to perform better. Okay, these type of program can be done from any level. It could be fresher to top level, and no previous knowledge of any analytical tool is required. However, some basic knowledge may be possibly you may be already using to some level. Intermediate Excel, some knowledge IQ, and some mathematics skill may be required if you want to use analytics. Any questions so far? Any of the participants? Are you been able to follow what we have been discussing? You can always type in the comments. Any questions? So coming to where should I do it? Possibly, if you are already looking for some programs where you want to get trained, you have to see necessarily three important combined skill from either training organization or from the trainer. One is you should look for a trainer who is industrially experienced, at least 15-20 years. The second one is those who are having a globally recognized certification. And third one is the same trainer should have the analytical skill. It's not the individual skill you should see, you should see the combined skill. And I possess all this three. Coming to our program specifically, certified sourcing analyst is a 5-month program. We have three modules. If you take module 1 and 2 is on the domain of sourcing. Here we are using content equivalent to global certification exams. And module 3 is we train the candidate on advanced Excel and Python. Also, what is important is we are going to use some live projects in solving the day-to-day problem in the sourcing function. All these programs are weekend program. They are online, live, and interactive programs, and done by the experts. If you are a fresher looking for any assistance in terms of placement, internship, scholarship, you can avail it once you enroll the program. And you can also visit our site for the recent Google reviews from our participants. Yes, Arati, you are asking for software procurement. What process would be best? See, there is no big difference between the software or any manufacturing product purchase. Here, possibly in software, there are a lot of evolving tools are available. One is you should know whether you want a product which is available as a source. It is available in cloud. So earlier format of original investing in those item is disappearing. Now you can hire, rent, or lease any of the product. Earlier we used to spend huge amount, especially in ERP investment. Now everything is gone. Now you want some item, you can test it out. You can just take it for 1 month, and if you are happy, please continue, and then you can start negotiation. Hardware is something different, where without a physical product you cannot do. The best way for software nowadays is hire them for few days or few week. If you are happy, then you can start negotiation after using it. I hope I have answered your question. Anyone else, any other questions? You are always welcome to reach out to me in the WhatsApp number given here. You can fix a time. You can discuss about your requirement. I am available for consultation, either for your on-the-job requirement, or your want any career advice, or I can do that. You can reach on this WhatsApp number. Now I think we can close it. Have a nice evening. Thanks for participation. Bye.